Issue 20, and the end of the first arc. And I gotta say, another friggin' awesome cover. And you know what? This one relates to everything that's going on, so it gets points for that. Anytime you have a cover that actually relates to what's going on, cool. This issue was also drawn, I should bring up, by Emmanuel Simoni. And again, he does a really good job. When stuff should be clean, it's nice and clean and colorful, and when things should look gritty and messed up and a bloody mess, those look great too. So, Emmanuel Simoni, I gotta hand it to you, guy. I like what you do. I like what you do. So, issue 20, what all happens? Batman serves perhaps the least important of the three stories, oddly enough. Batman's story is that, still fighting off Ten-Eyed Man, he opens his interdimensional portal to hell. It looks like he dies. He probably didn't, though. He's left on a rock surrounded by lava, and he's has his big proclamation of doom as Batman's trying to save everybody he can, including that little girl, Jade. Here we go. The totem will be etched upon your flesh in blood. Gotham's watchful moon will go dark. Oh, sorry, that wasn't related. Actually, in hindsight, I didn't notice this at the time, but yeah, he basically mentioned what happened at the beginning of issue 1. The totem will be carved into your flesh and blood. The bat symbol slashed into Batman's body. The moon will go dark. He's, crucified over the friggin' bat symbol. I didn't notice it at the time. That was cool. That was a cool mention that got. So yeah, Killer Croc, Batman, and Jason Bard, they save Jade. They stop the Ten-Eyed Man. Well, sort of. He still opens his portal and lots of bad shit goes down, but everybody's safe for the time being, at least. And Bard pulls his gun on Killer Croc and still says, I still think you were responsible for all those people dying. Killer Croc gets away, Batman gets away, Batman wasn't planning to bring Croc in. Croc is a criminal, but, it's not established that he was really doing anything wrong here. He's just a freak who lives in the sewer in this case. We don't really know if he was doing anything super wrong at this point. So, not chasing him would be Batman's style. It kind of leaves it ambiguous what Bard's going to do from there. So, that's what they've got going on. Down in Brazil, Batgirl continues to pursue. What's his name? I don't remember what his name is. The toy maker who's got all the gadgets and everything, and she catches up to him, and then he gets slashed, and it's with a knife that they realize it came from China. Someone threw it, so they've got a really accurate shot. Who was just hanging out there, maybe for weeks, waiting to kill this guy should any information need to get leaked. Criminy, you would need a bad guy. You would need a main villain of a hell of a payroll to be able to manage something like that. And I'm sure glad I know who the villain is, so I can make that statement. So yeah, he gets captured. He dies, but then Batgirl goes back, and Red Hood's like, we've already got all the evidence we need. We can free Gordon now. So, yay! We just have 40 issues left to go, which implies that this won't end well. It won't end well at all. So that goes on, and then Gordon back in the prison is continuing to be a complete badass. He beats the shit out of so many prisoners. He triggers the fire alarm, throws cans of liquid nitrogen down the hall, and just freezes a bunch of guys in place. It is badass. Gordon is at, again, his finest during this prison riot. He beats the crap out of so many people, and he is a one-man army inside that prison. It is great stuff and incredibly entertaining to watch. And we also got a plot twist that I'm a little surprised I didn't see coming. I guess I just didn't put two and two together, or maybe I wasn't exactly supposed to see it coming. I would be interested to know if anyone managed to predict this, because In hindsight, I feel like I should have been able to, but, you know, maybe a lot of people didn't notice this. Gordon's roommate, you know, Alan Moore looking dude, he's in the bathroom and he shaves off his beard and he's singing, you know, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. And he takes off his prison shirt and he's got a gigantic lion with a crown on its head, and he's the lion. He's Rex Calabrese, I believe his name was. The basic crime boss of Gotham before Falcone showed up, which I never would have guessed that. I never noticed it, but the fact that he was going by the name Leo should have tipped me off. And then he's got, like, you know, he's got fake lion teeth he puts in. He's got these big, like, Heath Ledger Joker-y scars across his mouth, which weirdly enough don't show up again. But yeah, he's pretty scarred and messed up. And at one point, when Gordon's been kind of beaten by the rioting inmates, he gets in there and he beats a bunch of them. And I would not be surprised if he bit someone's throat out. He was covered in so much frickin' blood. But he and Gordon kind of have a peace between them where basically he says, you know, well, his argument is, you know, he genuinely wants to see Gordon get out alive. He wants to see Gordon go back on the streets. And he mentions, you know, I never had a chance to spend time with my daughter. I was too busy wrapped up in the crime syndicates and everything. I didn't want you to go through the same thing. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but, like, admittedly, knowing for sure what I know now, I hadn't even seen anyone mentioning the possibility that Catwoman was his daughter, as opposed to Falcone's. But apparently some people are actually talking about that for a while, and it's like, yeah, I guess that would make sense. He's the lion in that shit. But I never guessed that. I never, and yeah, that comes up a few issues from now. We get official confirmation that Rex Calabrese is, he's Catwoman's father, and so that's what he's referencing when he says, oh, I never got to spend time with my daughter. He's probably not, he's surely not actually British. He must be Italian with a last name like that, but I've gotten used to giving him the pseudo Alan Moore voice, as in the random, completely nondescript British person voice. So that's that. And, yeah, so all of that goes on, and then at the very end of the issue, we see, like, we get the slow reveal of the spoiler costume, and, like, Stephanie basically saying, you know, if no one's going to listen to me, if no one's going to take the hint about what's going on right now, and these criminals are out there to destroy Gotham, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to handle it myself. And if they think I'm going to disappear down the memory hole, spoiler alert, no frickin' way. I would like if spoiler alert became her catchphrase. That would be cool. I know some people think catchphrases are completely overdone and you don't need one at all. If she started saying catchphrase a lot, I would get attached to it. I like it. And as I've mentioned in the past, like, the spoiler costume, I'm not going to grab it out of that issue. I've got issue 24 sitting right here. It's badass. The spoiler costume is really, really great. You know, monumental steps up from the original spoiler costume, which I've established before. I don't necessarily care for. Love Steph to death. Not always fond of her costume choice. It evokes a lot of the old Batgirl feel. It evokes a lot of her Batgirl costume. And overall, she looks really fantastic in it. Which, unfortunately, gives way to one of my big complaints as to, like, the creative team said, you know, we don't feel a need to explain where she got the costume. I'm like, bullshit! You don't just make that costume. She looks like she's got, like, military-grade Kevlar and all those pouches and all that. Where did it come from? They just said, you know, we left her alone for long enough. Like 6 issues, I think. Something like 6 issues now we spent without seeing anything of Steph. And they're like, she just got in that time. Where? Where did she just get... Who has purple armored Kevlar sitting around? Where do you just get that? That is one of the dumber answers they've given. I do have a problem with that answer. I do want to know where that frickin' costume came from. I have a speculation, but I will handle my speculation when I get to issue 24. So as is, that was issue 20. That was all of the events of issue 20. action-packed, lots of stuff going on. Again, I liked this one a lot. There was plenty going for it. There was a lot all moving and kind of converging at once, and we got some resolution to all three of those plots, which will of course get unresolved as soon as we go into issue 21, but that's beside the point. We're still moving along inch by inch by inch. It's a year-long series. What are you going to do? So overall, Arc 1 of this series, the first 20 issues, you know, other than some pacing problems, because I am sometimes like, okay, when are we going to get to the next thing? When are we going to get some resolution on these stories? Other than that, I'm having a blast. It's a good series, and I continue to buy it week after week for a reason. And, you know, I've got another, you know, what is it, like 8 or 9 of these to review over the next couple of days. This is going to be the last one I do for tonight, so this will be the last one in the Pepsi shirt. I want to play some Smash Brothers and try and do some writing. Maybe watch maybe watch the end of Highlander at some point, because I've had that on hold for a while now. But yeah, overall, I'm enjoying this series quite a lot. The first arc, I think, is a damn solid arc. You can give it to about anyone, I feel like. I feel like someone who isn't well versed in Batman lore and all that could look at this and they could get it, and they could get what's going on and feel like it's building to something really big and really cool. And, you know, there's still a good chunk of the series left to go, but boy, I'm having fun with it. And, you know, I do recommend it really highly. Maybe it's not my favorite comic in the world, no, but I mean, for a year-long macro series like this is, yeah, I'm having a blast, and I really hope the other people are too. I've seen plenty of mixed reviews on a lot of what's gone on, and, you know, people question. It's crazy how the reviews fluctuate, because sometimes I'll see like issues as low as a rating of like 3 or 4, and then the next issue's like an 8 or a 9. It's all over the map. It really kind of depends on what story they decide to focus on that week. But, you know, overall, like, in spite of the hiccups, in spite of the problems I've listed, overall I am having a good time. And I am still really enjoying it. And the first 20 issues, as long as I remind myself it's a little hard to remind myself that that's $60 worth of merchandise, but spread over 20 weeks, so it's not a big deal. As long as I remind myself, you know, just how much there is left to go and how many interesting plot threads there are that I want to see resolved. I mean, yeah, I'm having a really good time, and I hope anyone out there who has been reading Batman Eternal has had a good time too, and I'm enjoying this series and looking forward to talking about it some more. So, that covers the first arc. That covers my sitting down in front of the camera time for the night. Thank you guys so much for following me thus far. We'll get right into issue 21 here shortly.